Look up from your telescope, take me on this journey home. I don't wanna wait no more.
All right, y'all. For weeks now, you have asked me to talk about Billy and Laura and how they have been dropping the ball as parents. And I ain't gonna lie, I was nervous too. I really didn't want to drag them, but it's worthwhile talking about. Olivia didn't crash the car. Olivia is drinking. There's a lot of things still happening, and the parents are gonna have to grab the wheel, child, because we off track. Let's talk about it. Okay, so y'all, I'm breaking it down into the 5 times that Billy and Laura dropped the ball as parents, and it could be more, it could be less, but these are the 5 major points that I want to bring up. If you think I missed the point or you want to just add to the conversation, make sure that you drop down into the comment section and let me know exactly how you feel and what you think. And I also want to preface this video with, I know that Billy and Laura love their children. They just kind of enable them to do some really jacked up stuff in their own lives, and we kind of just need them to show up better. We need them to pay attention more. We need them to focus. We need them to stop relying on their money and their status to help them parent their kids, and actually just step in and lay the law down, because Jordan and Olivia are kind of running amok. Okay, the first way that Billy and Laura dropped the ball in parenting is going to fall to the pilot episode, season 1, episode 1. And actually, this one is pretty much all on Billy. It's when he moved Spencer in without discussing it with the family. In this episode, we see what starts as a rivalry between Jordan and Spencer, but that rivalry doesn't really pop off until Jordan overhears Billy talking about how Spencer is going to be the thing that saves this team, which ultimately is a shot to Jordan's ego, right? Like, we can totally understand how he could feel some type of way after hearing this. He has been the QB1 on this team for the last 3 years and hasn't been able to get it done. They aren't a necessarily winning team, and now that his dad is putting all his hopes and dreams and their success on this other kid, you can definitely understand why Jordan would be jealous. And I think that this could have all been avoided if Billy would have just had a conversation with them about moving him in. Now, don't get me wrong, the reason why Spencer actually has to come and live with the Bakers is because Jordan decides to snitch and talk about the transfer to another team and report them, so they have to move Spencer into Beverly Hills, or to the Baker's house, which is in Beverly Hills, so that he can be allowed to go to Beverly Hills High School. But had Billy been honest about Spencer's place on the team, what Spencer could do for the team, and also how Billy still saw Jordan as a valuable component to the team, then I don't think Jordan would have hopped in his little jealous bag and went and did his little snitching thing. Not to say that it's okay, but had Billy been honest, had Billy been more upfront, we could have probably avoided this. And ultimately, the fallout from Billy moving Spencer in without actually talking to the family expands past episode 1. It really goes into episode 2, where Olivia has to explain, like, yo, you move this boy in and you wonder why Jordan is acting crazy. It's because he really wants your approval. He really wants you to look at him the way he sees you looking at this guy. And not to mention, you ain't even paying attention to me, and I'm fresh out of rehab. So Billy moving Spencer in to their house without actually talking to the family about it exacerbates the lack of communication and really shows the breakdown that was already there with the family, but kind of starts to add a little bit of a strain onto it. Jordan is in his feelings and not communicating. Olivia is not necessarily mad that Spencer's there because she's glad that Spencer's there, but she also still wants the time and attention from her dad. And we don't know this in this moment, but we also learn that she feels like them as a family. So Billy, Laura, and Jordan have not been paying attention to her, do not give her the attention that she needs, and we start to see seeds of this in this as well. All right, the second time Billy and Laura dropped the ball with their parenting actually also falls on Billy's shoulders. It's when Billy was hiding his past and family from Olivia and Jordan. So we get introduced to this in season 1, episode 3, after Jordan and Spencer get pulled over by the cops and mistreated, we learn that Jordan was never given the black man police talk or the black person police talk, and that opens up the dialogue for them to talk a little bit more about things happening outside of their Beverly Hills bubble, and prompts Billy to bring Jordan to Crenshaw to the barbershop where they're able to chop it up and Jordan could get a little bit more perspective on where Billy grew up. While they're there, Jordan learns that Billy used to date Grace, and that gets the wheels turning in overdrive in his head about if Spencer is their brother and what Billy is hiding about their family. Y'all, we have been blaming Jordan for the fact that Olivia didn't happen sooner, but low key, if we really want to trace it back, it's not only Jordan's fault, but it's also Billy's fault because Billy could have been very honest and straightforward with his family. The same way that he should have talked to them about Spencer moving in before Spencer moved in, he should also have been upfront and honest about his past as well as their family. How you not going to tell your kids that their grandfather is living 30 minutes away in Crenshaw? Again, this ultimately starts to build tension within their family, and things come to a head in season 1, episode 5. When Jordan is on the hunt, he is now convinced Olivia, yanked her out of the hot tub with Spencer, and convinced Olivia that Spencer might be their brother, so now she's a part of it too, and they wind up discovering that who Billy has been sending money to for the last 17 years was actually their grandfather, GW. In addition, Jordan thinks that he's ousting something in reference to mentioning the relationship with Grace, but Laura already knew about that, and they do all of this at Spencer's birthday party, ultimately breaking the news to him in the worst way, sending him into an emotional spiral in that moment. Again, had Billy just been upfront and honest, they could have avoided a lot of tears, turmoil, and trials, and we might have got Olivia way sooner. If you're loving the video so far, hit that like button, and if you haven't already, make sure that you subscribe to the channel so that you never miss an All-American upload. If you're into really great television shows, then check out my other series breakdowns from Snowfall to Power to Queen Sugar and even Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Let's chop it up, and if there's a show that you think I should check out, post it in the comment section down below. Now back to the video with the number 3 way Billy and Laura have dropped the ball as parents. The third way Billy and Laura dropped the ball while parenting is when they were ignoring Olivia leading up to and on her 1-year sobriety day. If we go back to season 1, episode 12, we get the flashbacks to not only Spencer and his life at Crenshaw before Beverly Hills, but we also get the flashbacks to Olivia in the moment that she overdosed, and we got to see the circumstances leading up to that. And that was a setup so that we can see where she was going on this 1-year anniversary of her OD, and then going to rehab, and then recovering. She finds pills, is struggling a little bit, and all the while her family is none the wiser, and that includes Jordan. The only person who seems to notice something is up when Olivia is missing at school at the beginning of the day and is acting a little bit weird is Spencer, but this video isn't about Spencer and how he shows up for her. It's about Billy and Laura and how they drop the ball. These two are so consumed in the football team, in DA, and their careers, and what they have going on with one another, that they completely forget that this is the 1-year anniversary of Olivia's sobriety and her turning her life around after this OD incident, and forget to just check in. Olivia makes a valid point in this episode where she calls everyone 911 and tells them that they need to meet, where she breaks it down to them like, y'all are just assuming that I'm okay, but I'm not okay. Like, I am struggling every single day and nobody seems to notice it. And they rely on the idea of like, well, you seem like you're doing fine and you're so strong. And it's like, it's the strong ones who be needing help. And y'all her parents, so y'all supposed to see it. Jordan's her twin too, so I'm also going to give him a little bit of smoke in this post or this actual number. but I'm going to put the bulk of the weight on Billy and Laura because they missed the initial signs of her using drugs and then the OD happened. So they should have been extra cautious after she came out of rehab and was actually keyed in. But they kind of assumed that the problem was just solved, that she was just fixed, as she has said multiple times. And yeah, that's my number 3. And piggybacking off of my number 3 way that Billy and Laura dropped the ball in parenting, I'm going to say number 4 is that they didn't even notice that she had developed a drug problem to begin with. Now, no, I don't believe parents can 100% control their children, especially once you get into teenage years, and especially once you live the life that they're living. They have a very privileged and wealthy life, so they're able to do a lot more things than other teens that are from like a middle class or a lower class is able to do. They have access to more money, they have access to drugs, they have access to alcohol, they have access to a lot of things. And no, I don't think that it's completely unfathomable for, someone, a child, a teen to develop a drug problem. And the parents could have tried to do as much as they possibly could, and that didn't happen. That can still happen, right? But I do believe that Billy and Laura have been kind of like absentee parents. They were there physically, but mentally they weren't there. Mentally, Billy has been struggling with turning this high school football team around, finding purpose within his life, getting discharged from the NFL, and that dream kind of crumbling. And we see all of this start to unfold as we have watched. So we don't know this in this moment, but all of these things are going on, and all of these things are distracting him from showing up and seeing his daughter the way that he needs to see her when the signs are there of her starting to spiral downhill. I think the same can be said also for Laura, in that she has been a very supportive wife. When Billy was let go from the NFL and decided to take the high school coaching position, she probably doubled down within her career and started to really push and become ambitious to also help shoulder the financial weight. You can see that Laura is a very accomplished lawyer. She's a very accomplished woman. She's definitely not a kept woman. And it looks like her putting her head down and pursuing her ambitious goals also allowed her to take her eye off the ball when it comes to Jordan and Olivia, but specifically Olivia, because she did not see the warning signs as well in reference to Olivia developing a drug problem. And y'all, there's no way that what we see in episode 12 in reference to Olivia's OD happens and there's no warning signs. There's no, you can tell that she's high prior to, you can tell that her drug use is increasing. Like, there had to be signs. So I don't even believe that there was no way that they could have known. I just think that they were too busy to see it. And that is my number 4 way of how they dropped the ball. Before I give you my 5th, but I'm sure it's not the final, way that Laura and Billy have dropped the ball as parents to Jordan and Olivia, make sure that you check the description box of this video and sign up for my All-American rewatch parties happening every Saturday while we're on hiatus. We are going back and watching all of the old episodes, seeing how everything hits different and chopping it up. And I want you to join me. All right, y'all, we are almost to the end of the video with my 5th way that Billy and Laura have dropped the ball while parenting, and that's going to go to season 2, episode 12. They didn't notice that Olivia has not been sleeping after the shooting. In this episode, we see Spencer come down to get something to drink and he notices Olivia in the living room, and then we learn that this is something that she does every night, that she can't really stay asleep at night ever since the shooting, and she invites Spencer to join her if he can't sleep as well. And all I could think about in watching this is like, where are the parents? Did they never get up in the middle of the night and notice that you're down here in the living room watching TV in the middle of the night like everything is all Gucci? How is it possible that your mother and father are living in the house with you, and every single night you get up in the middle of the night because you can't sleep and you sit in the living room and watch random TV shows and maybe eat ice cream, and they have no idea? Like, they have absolutely no idea. That ain't peak, I ain't paying attention to my kids I don't know what is. And this is something that has been coming up a lot in the comment section recently because the writers have yet to give us a full breakdown or even like just a nice little peek into Olivia's point of view after the shooting. We all know that she has some type of PTSD behind it, but we have really focused on how the shooting has affected Spencer because he was the one who actually got shot, and we haven't really seen what that has done for Olivia. Right now we're in a place of really just taking a bunch of guesses in reference to why she's doing the things that she's doing. Is she drinking because of the shooting? Is she drinking because she's lonely? Is she like, what is going on? Is it something else that we have no idea about? And I think that this is a very, very pivotal point in which Billy and Laura continue to miss things and are checked out in reference to paying attention to Jordan and Olivia's lives, because I don't understand how it doesn't throw up a red flag that Olivia isn't getting sleep at night and they have no clue. And I didn't even give any of the real reasons that were rooted in some of the things that Jordan has gone through. I mean, we did have the fake Simone pregnancy, which could have been real according to Billy and Laura because they weren't paying attention to him either. But those are like the 5 top ways that I think that Billy and Laura have dropped the ball as parents. I really think that while they love Olivia and Jordan, they just aren't paying attention. They just are too consumed with their own crap. And I'm gonna need them to get it together because I think the second half of this season 3, they are going to need Billy and Laura to be on point. Specifically, Olivia is going to need them to be on point. Yes, Jordan had his little elope and he's forging signatures and all that, but that can be worked out. That's nothing really detrimental or life altering. Olivia drinking and falling off the wagon is a life or death thing, and I need them to pick up on it and pick up on it quick. If you made it to the end of the video, drop a comment telling me how you feel Billy and Laura either have showed up for or did not show up for Jordan and Olivia. Also include 4 thunderbolts in your comments so that I know it's real and you are a real one and you made it to the end of the video, and I gotta show you some extra real love to match the love that you show me. Thanks so much for tuning into today's All-American video. I'm your host, Erica Vane, and I post new All-American videos every single day, sometimes twice a day. We have the best community on the internet, and my comment section is lit. You should join the tribe by hitting subscribe. I promise you're gonna love it here. Before you go, I have my All-American series playlist linked here, but also I think you will love this video breakdown of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So check it out because I know you're not ready to go yet. See you in the next video. Bye!